Okay, this is part 3 of my series on my Steam guide, creating a new character advanced class. Gonna pick up right where we left off in the last video. This one's gonna be a little bit short. I'm going to run around and open up some shortcuts and then fight the gargoyles and die to them horribly. Early on, these rats can be a bit of a problem, but using a weapon like a spear or a rapier that you can sort of shield poke is pretty ideal. They do a lot of poise damage, so you definitely don't want to get hit, especially when you're fighting multiples, because they can stun lock you pretty easily. And then you get poisoned, and this early on, you're not likely to have items to cure poison, so it's best to be really, really careful when fighting them. I'm always extremely cautious to make sure that I kick that ladder before I drop down, because if you don't, that's going to be a real pain in the ass. Especially considering I had killed Taurus Demon, which isn't a big deal, but it's an annoyance. It's not really worth killing. It gives you like 6,000 souls, it's nothing. You'll notice the dragon is missing. That's because if you do not go into the berg the normal way and trigger that moment where he lands on that bridge, not really bridge. Anyway, if you don't trigger that event, he will not show up here. You can play the entire game without having him show up. In fact, there was a really clever person who actually used the dragon spawn as an attack against somebody in PvP, which is pretty hilarious. He lured somebody back in and triggered it, and the dragon landed right on him and did about 1,200 damage.
The way I see it is pleased with the
testing out here to make sure I can use both weapons and still fast roll, and I can, which is cool. Gives me a little bit more flexibility in the moment. finish upgrading my S stock right now. Then I'm going to head for the gargoyles.
Well. Go get yourself.
Here I'm checking to make sure that those hollows I ran past didn't follow me. You don't want them to come up behind you here. This is one of the moments where I think it's really amazing to have a spear or a thrusting weapon. You're fighting in a narrow corridor, there's a lot of enemies, they're going to do a lot of damage to you when buffed by the sorcerer, so you definitely don't want to get hit, and you want to be able to attack, and they don't have very much health, so even an unupgraded spear will probably be able to kill them at least 2 hits, probably 1. I highly recommend picking one up somewhere, if just for this. I'm gonna go up here and grab this humanity. I like to pick up humanity whenever I can. So hopefully I won't have to farm for any later, at least not for a while. Alright, here we go. And here's where I mess up. I didn't anticipate the stagger, and by the time I realized it and tried to take another swing, he dodged out of the way. I would have finished him in the next hit had I made that work. And here's where I die. I hope to get a stagger, and I don't. And then combo. Alright, that's the end of this video. Next video I'll actually kill them, and we'll go from there. Cheers.